Well, February is Black History Month, and earlier today I spoke with Ditra Edwards. She's the co-founder and director of a local organization called Sista Fire. It's made up of young women of color working to transform their communities. I began by asking her how and what she'll be reflecting on this Black History Month. Here's part of our conversation.
I think for us at Sista Fire, we're always trying to think about what we're grounded in and who we are. As an organization, we really think about the women who have led before us. We're constantly in this relationship of thinking about like Ella Baker and the way that she led and the importance of investing in leadership and in really recognizing that everyday people have the answers to their own problems. They have a vision for change for their own communities, and we believe in that. We see lots of folks in this country who believe in that when we think about what has happened recently in the context of the national vote and the work that Stacey Abrams has done. We look at the group of young progressive women here who really have changed the context of what it means to lead. Tiara, um, Jennifer, like there's lots of folks who have just invested in changing the landscape of Rhode Island. And I think that's been really important. But we have everyday folks who are doing the same thing in their own life. You know, I think about moms every single day who are living through this pandemic and having to balance what it means to be a mother, what it means to be out working every day, and thinking about their children and their families. And so I think when we talk about Black History Month, when we talk about celebration, we have to honor um, the small wins of every single day to the big national wins.
Absolutely. The small victories are hugely important, especially right now, like you mentioned. I know you work a lot with specifically young women of color. What do you hear from them about the state of this country and the state of Rhode Island right now?
What I hear from them isn't just about the moment, but it's about the journey, right? It's about right now feeling like we are our ancestors' wildest dreams, that in this country, we are at such an intersection of this pandemic, the uprisings in this election, and that we have to continue to fight for what our communities need. We celebrate right now, but the fight's not over. You hear lots of the women that we're talking to concerned about the impact of housing and the evictions that people are facing. When you think about the food insecurities right here in Rhode Island that people are facing every single day, when you think the number of folks out of work, these are the things we have to think about in our ongoing fight. So we can, it's important to stop and celebrate, but it's also important to acknowledge the changes that still need to happen.
Ditra, anything else that you'd like to let folks know or think I'm neglecting to ask? I'm sure there is a lot that we could talk about, but anything else that you'd like to let folks know today?
To be intentional about how you move in this world, that means be intentional about thinking about the communities that have been directly impacted by this pandemic. Be intentional about who you're celebrating, because oftentimes we're leaving out someone, and to always look and say who's not at the table, who's not involved becomes really critical.
Ditra Edwards of Sista Fire, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you.